Tara, do you know what Pooh Bear calls his girlfriend?
I have no idea.
Honey.
Oh, I needed that this morning.
Honey. Good morning, Daily Huddlers. It's Wednesday, the day that we talk everything relationships and communication. And before we dive into our question today, I want to start with a few questions to get us grounded. And I'm going to start with Sorrel. Dear Sorrel, I know you're there because I heard you earlier.
I am here.
Well, where are you? And what are you grateful for?
I am right here. And I'm grateful for thoughts. Like I have a zillion of them, and every now and then I'm present to one or two, and they leave me happy. I'm grateful for thoughts.
Perfect. I love it. Thank you. And Tom, for you, I would love to know, how are you and who are you going to hug today?
Well, I am the way I say I am. I'm going to hug my son, Charlie. I'll be with him this evening, one of his fun activities. And if I could say why I'm grateful, well, I will be grateful if no one calls me honey at work today. So, but thank you.
Yeah, well, you said you are the way you say you are. And how are you? Are you grateful? Is that what you are?
Yes.
Awesome.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. Love to hear that. Grateful. I'm going to go to our wonderful Lizette and ask her, because she is our timekeeper. What time is it?
The time is now.
I love it. Yes, the time is now. We are here. We are the way we say we are. And today, Tara and I are going to talk about, are we too angry for joy? We've started a series on joy and we just kind of keep rolling with it because it's got so much good stuff in it. But there is this place where we can feel angry or bitter or resentful or rageful even, you know? So Tara, why don't you kick us off with, are we too angry for joy?
So the timing of this is very interesting. And I'm going to go ahead like we did yesterday, Kathryn, and answer the question. Can we be too angry for joy? And the answer is yes, absolutely. Anger, which I think we know stems from sadness and pain, is so it's a reflection of that. It's a reflection of ourselves, and it steals our beauty and it steals our joy. But I also think there's a place for anger. And so I want to talk about that for a few minutes, and I'm going to be 1,000% transparent, as I often do, and say that last week, Sorrel thanked Kathryn and I when we finished with the Daily Huddle, because he said, you're so well planned. You always have something really well thought out and planned. And this morning I had something really well thought out and planned. And it was, I had done some research about some stories and some Buddhist fables about anger and how those are affecting relationships, which is a big reason why we're here. And I was prepared with all that. And then this morning at 8:20, my phone rang, and something took place that makes me more angry than anything on this earth. And it was the doctors calling about Caroline. And so I would not be transparent if I didn't shift a little bit and explain my anger right now and what I'm going to attempt to do with it to regain my joy. And I'm not there yet. So that's the super honest part. My heart is racing because I'm so angry right now, and I'm going to share it with y'all. Caroline, as many of you know, has been having seizures for over 18 years, on again, off again, on again. And over the past 4 to 5 months, the seizures are back, which is a huge interference into the little bit of quality life that I see that she has. And so we have decided to do something called deep brain stimulation. And we decided that through many months of testing and conversations and trips to her doctors in New York. And they finally agree after the final meeting, okay, all the while I see my daughter continuing to seize. And they say, okay, we're going to do this procedure called deep brain stimulation. And it's something where you run this wire down through the center of your brain, and there's a generator in your heart. And you can turn up these electrical impulses, which could potentially help her to get off drugs, minimize her seizures, and improve her quality of life. The problem with going back to New York is Medicaid won't pick up what insurance doesn't pay. So we're talking thousands of dollars there, plus travel, plus no family support. So I said to the doctor in New York, if we can find someone local, then I'd rather do it here. And because of the cost and the upheaval, he's like, absolutely. He found the perfect doctor. I talked to the doctor yesterday and he said, we will, after, this has been going on and on, right? All the while, my rage continues to spiral. And yesterday he called me and he said, we just want to capture seizures one more time. And I'm like, if this wasn't the Daily Huddle, I would be screaming out the F word. I'm like, capturing seizures means backing off medicine, back in the hospital, delaying the procedure, but somehow he talks me into it. Then the hospital called me this morning, right before the Daily Huddle. The soonest that they can take Caroline is August the 7th. So her whole summer, we're going to continue to have seizures and have her be heartbroken. And this is the constant stream of my life where I realize, and so back to our question, can anger prevent joy? And it can. So I don't know if I have the answer, but I can tell you how I have dealt with this, which is a consistent theme in my life for 18 years. And when this journey first started, I started having this vision. I don't know where it came from, but I had this big bucket. It was actually a big blue recycling bin, and it was in my driveway. And it was filled with these glass vases. And I would pick the vases up one by one and stand as if I was up to bat, twist from my torso, and throw the heavy vase against my brick wall of my home. And I would do this over and over and over again in my mind. And somehow that vision helps me to release that anger. And when we get out of this Daily Huddle, I will be doing that exercise again, because it's the only way that I know to let go of it and slowly slide back into joy. I don't feel joyful right now. I just don't. I'm so freaking mad. Here we go again, right? But I can't carry that around with me, because what kind of mom would I be for Caroline? What kind of friend would I be to Kathryn? What kind of wife would I be? But I have to find a way to let it flow through me. That's my little special way. And it's not simple, and it won't happen immediately. I won't bounce out of this chair in 45 minutes all aglow. I will call my husband. I'll scream through the phone at him and he'll take it. A few things will take place. But I have learned that we can't carry it with us, because that prevents us from being the person that we want to be. And as I was reading these Buddhist fables, I think the biggest message that I was reminded of is that the real enemy is the anger. So we all have times when we have anger, but we've got to find a way to just accept it. I used to just fight it off, and now I let it be. I just accept the fact that I am furious at who I don't know. I'm just so mad. So I changed the story, Kathryn, because it's so timely. And after 18 years, I don't know that I'll ever not be angry about what happened to my little girl. I don't know. So help me, sister.
Well, I think everything happens for a reason. And I do think it is timely. My heart is breaking for you. And yet I'm watching you carry this in such a beautiful, graceful way. And just talking about it and watching you process it And then imagining that you've had 18 years of this and the amount of anger, the number of times you've had to release the anger, and that you still show up here beautiful, smiling, and joyful most of the time. I know, you're angry AF today. And it makes you human. You know, I don't think we'd be able to follow you and follow your stories of joy if you were just on cloud nine all the time, because we couldn't relate to it, you know? But I just think the one thing, I mean, it's hard for me not to go to the heartbreak, because my heart does break for you, is the processing of it.
Okay.
The question is, can we be too angry for joy? And the answer is yes. Okay, so what do we do now? And you're talking about healthy ways to let that anger move through you and to process that, so that then you can go back to all the other things we've talked about and how to get into joy.
Absolutely. But it is a process. I mean, it's not like, oh, I'm just not going to let that bother me. It's just not that. I think that's partly the way my son found alcohol and adrenaline rushes. He was not letting anything bother him.
Well, I think you've been in stages of that too. You've talked about that, how fast you would move and how, you know, you would just, the cigarettes, what is it, nicotine, Listerine, and
Caffeine, nicotine, and Listerine.
There you go. Yeah. I mean, that is moving fast so you don't feel, right? So you've had experience. We probably all have. I know that I have, where I just keep moving, go, 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 go. I don't want to feel anything, or I numb, you know, with food, sugar, alcohol, you know, whatever. And you're talking about actually being with the anger and not letting it take over, giving it healthy space, but also having boundaries for it. Like, we're not living here. We're not hanging. You're not also fueling it. That's the other thing. I think sometimes we can fuel our own anger, spin around the same story and keep going there and keep going there. And we'll never get to joy in that way. So I just hear such healthy processing from you, actually. So I don't know if that's helpful, but.
Well, it is helpful. And I think one of the points that I wanted to make before I got so distracted with my own mess is those years when I think I was kind of living on an energy of anger. Like early on in Caroline's illness, like I was just mad and I was her warrior and nothing could get in my way. And I would get up early and run and then drink coffee and smoke cigarettes and get in the car and do my job and come home and cook. And I just was going 90 to nothing. And anger was fueling that. And I don't think that I was alone in that. As a matter of fact, I have a very good friend who is so angry. He's so angry with his experience on this earth as a Black man. And he talks to me about, he says, I don't think that I can even begin to think about being joyful like you. Like, it's so foreign to him. And I think it's because he's become almost addicted to that energy of anger. It defines him. And if he lets that leave his body, then he's got to look and say, who am I without that anger? And there must be a healthy way to drive our passion, because, you know, anger is passion. Like my cousin, she's fighting for animal activism every day of her life, but she's had to find a way to not do it with anger and to do it with passion. That's the spirit that I need to remind myself why I'm doing this, because it's because of my love for Caroline, which does help to appease the anger, because anger, according to Buddha, anger is the enemy.
Well, and you're talking about harnessing that energy, because I don't think there's anything wrong with any of the emotions. There's nothing wrong with rage. There's nothing wrong with sadness, anger, you know, any of that. But you're talking about harnessing it, you know, letting it process through you, and then also harnessing when you have it. How can I use this? Let this fuel me. And your cousin, how do I let that fuel me to get to a better place or to be where I want to be? And I see Cece's hand up, and I would love to hear what Cece has to say right now.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much for your sharing. Good morning, everyone. What I'm gathering from all this, because I have experienced some tragedies, trials, and many tribulations in my life that I was angry about. And I didn't want to walk around as a mad, Black, angry woman. So I started counting it joy. It's comical. All the stuff, all the behaviors that I have that have come out of me as a result of these tests and trials and situations, I'm using it as material because I'm counting these testimonies as a growth process from dealing with trials and tribulations. What am I going to do? How did I grow from it? What did I learn? I learned that there's always somebody else in a worse predicament, and the situation could have come out worse. And I can thank God for giving me a way out to look at the joy of it, look at the experience of the good times, and looking at the comedy in it. It's all comical because it don't last forever. We're just temporary here. I'm just temporary on this earth. And so I look at it, well, let me figure out how to find something funny out of everything. Me acting the fool, going off on somebody is not funny, but me talking about it, count it all joy. So I'm looking at the joy of how beautiful your face is, how beautiful your personality is, how beautiful y'all came on this line on the daily huddle to share something authentic. And it's okay to be upset, but you're going to be laughing at it a couple of hours from now or less about something else that was joyful. Because at the end of the day, there's always a smile behind whatever situation shows up. So I hope this will give you an insight how I've had to change and grow towards enjoying life, because today is what we have. We're not promised tomorrow. So I'm going to find joy in today and in this moment. So thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Cece. You know, I love what you're saying, Cece. It's a shift in perspective. And, you know, again, it's not to push through too quickly to process it. But one of the ways that I do that, I had something happen over the weekend that got me angry, really, really mad. It was occupying too much of my brain. But the thing that helped was just what she said there at the end, that I love space. I love looking at the stars. I love talking to my son about it, the planets, all that. Was thinking about that. We are a tiny speck. And somehow that thing that made me so angry that was so big seemed so small in that moment. And I thought, this is going to be over in a nanosecond. And that may not be the same for you, Tara, because your situation is different. And what made me angry really isn't a big deal. You know, it is to my emotions and my ego, but other than that, it isn't. But I like what Cece's saying about finding different perspectives, whatever it is that might work at some time when you're ready to then say, okay, I see the joy in this, or I see the comedy in this.
Yeah, the humor piece of it, that's a great reminder. I'm not there yet for this particular moment of anger, but as I look back, and I have a friend named Kathleen who has helped me to see comedy in so much of the shit show of life. And it is a huge release. It feels better than imagining those vases going up against brick walls. I can't laugh at it right now, but I know I'll get there and laugh at what a fool I have been about being angry. And it is good medicine. It's a great reminder. Thank you. Looks like Tom has something he wants to share or ask or say.
Oh, thank you. And Tara, thanks for sharing. That's obviously very genuine, and through you giving us a view into where you are, I mean, so much more wisdom through this discussion. I wanted to try to say back to you all just some things that I'm hearing, because Kathryn, what you were mentioning a minute or two ago about it being normal to be angry, especially right there when the event happens. There's I think there's an aspect of giving yourself some grace. Like something has happened and I'm feeling that this is just wrong. I don't know necessarily the why, but then through giving yourself that grace, it seems to take some of the edge off, and then you can shift just a little bit. And then you've mentioned about healthy ways to process. You've even set in some boundaries, and then it's further allowing you to process the emotion. Humor is a great technique, like Cece mentioned. You know, some folks I think like to go deep and explore, like, well, then what is going on here? But you have to have that initial release of that surge of anger. But you can only do that if you let yourself do it and give yourself the grace of, hey, that's normal. Yeah. So I don't know if you agree with what I'm saying, but that's what I'm hearing. It resonates with me.
No,
I find it comforting.
what'd you say?
I find it comforting what you said.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think you're right. I think normalizing it, really normalizing anything, especially we've talked a lot about being in our own heads and what's going on, and just normalizing that, yeah, something just happened and I'm pissed about it. I'm mad. I feel this way, that way, the other way, because guess what? I'm human. And then talking about where we started with, like, what next, right? You don't stay there. Then what next? When you're ready, like, and you don't have to be ready now. You don't have to be ready tomorrow. And then, until you start to realize this is not healthy. But yeah, I think that's why it's comforting to me too. It's like, yeah, I'm human. It happened. I'm mad. I deserve to be. I'm allowed to be.
Yeah, and at some point when you're ready, there's an aspect of mindset as to, okay, I'm going to keep choosing, healthy ways to keep processing. And then at some point you'll be able to, have the choice to, I'm going to start to seize joy and bring that more back into my life.
It's great. Thank you, Tom. Chase.
Tara?
Yes.
Yeah. I'd just like to say this. We read not too long ago on my platform, the Motivation Readers Mastermind Network, Tony Robbins' Awaken the Giant Within.
Mhm.
And one of the things that he really, really said that stands out with me when I find myself in a bad state is that there's two ways to change. There's two very, very powerful ways to change your state. One is to change your physiology. Now, we can't go in and change our heart, but we can make our heart beat faster. We can make it beat slower. So we can change our physiology, right? We change the position that we're sitting in. We stand up, we stand up, we sit up erect or something. We take a different stance. We change our physiology. And then the next thing we do is that we change our focus. And we change our focus by asking ourselves an empowering question. That's how we change our focus. So we change our physiology, and then we change our focus. The focus change is by asking an empowering question. So when I find myself in states of mind, that we get served by every state of mind that we have. When we're feeling angry, we like that anger for that moment because it serves us.
Energy.
Yeah, it serves us. It might be destructive for a while, but it's serving us. And that's why we're holding on to it for a moment. So the question I like to ask myself is, first of all, I find myself in a state of mind that I know is not a good state of mind, but I might be enjoying it because I'm angry right now and I'm getting something out of that anger, right? But I ask myself, I change my physiology. I sit up straight and I get a more confident stance because like the anger is taking control of me. But when I put myself in a position where I get a more positive stance, physically, it's like I'm standing up to this now. I'm coming to attention. Now I'm going to take back control, right? And then I'll say to myself, listen, I'm angry right now. I know I'm getting something out of this anger, but it's not good for you to stay there, Stan. So come on. So what are you going to do now to get back out of it? So that's the change in focus of question for me. So I don't stay in it too long. Thank you.
Thank you.
Love that. So good. Such a good reminder. So much good stuff today. Oh my goodness. Can you imagine, Tara, that all this would come out of your anger?
I know. I mean, what's kind of frustrating me a little bit is usually like if there's a difficult experience in my life and then I have to go and speak or communicate or work, I just kind of put it on the shelf and deal with it later. And then I just take all the energy from it and I give it back out as love. But today the topic was anger. So it was really kind of hard for me to like compartmentalize the anger and talk about anger and not like express it. So
Right.
In a strange, wild experience. So Chase, I see your hand up and your hat tipped. Grand day to you. Grand rising.
Day.
Sorry. Grand rising.
No, you can do whatever you want with that. That's what's great about it. First of all, I just always want to commend you on your bravery for bringing your personal life into this call. And I think that number one, I want to commend you because I believe the first step to getting past anger is to be connected to joy. And we are the joy in the situation. We will tell you what you need to move forward. Stan brought up Awaken the Giant Within, which was literally my first personal development book when I was a junior high. in a junior in high school. And I remember what he was talking about. I still have the book with me right now. And what I wanted to say was, like, with your daughter, as far as like joy, I would say, like, find new ways to create joy with her that you haven't done thus far. Like, go fly a kite, or go somewhere where she has to look up at some spectacular thing in the sky, like a show of sorts, or bring her to a show with children. Like, all the things you've never done with her, make a list of those and do those. Therefore, you're rewiring her brain as well. Like, wow, Mom, we never did this before. This is great, which takes her away from not any joy that she's had before, but it produces new joy. And I think you're a spectacular woman, and I think that you have all the tools in front of you to move to that other place, and you are allowed to be in this place. But don't stay there, and reach out for other people when you need them to lift you up, and we're here for you. So you're going to make it through this, and we support you.
Thank you. And I'm going to take your advice. That is, and Kathryn has, in some different words, said the exact same thing to me. So two people whom I adore and respect. So it must be. So anyway, I think Laura has been waiting very patiently, but I'm going to write down what y'all are suggesting. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Laura.
Good morning. Good morning. Ooh, gratitude. Thanks for this conversation of anger. I'm present to wow. The fact that anger can be power, can be a surge, can be passion. But this anger is what brought me to where I'm at today, to healing, to finding my true self, to the art of compassion and forgiveness. So, sometimes I just say, look at it, humor it. Because without that surge and explosion of anger, I would not be here talking to you all today. This is the anger that I stored up inside of me for years from being a child laborer, and had no clue that I was even angry until that explosion. So thank you all. And I'm glad to be here, and did not allow that anger to take me to the bottom of the rabbit hole. Thank you all.
Beautiful. Such a great point. It's going to be part of our lives, but we can't allow it to control us, can we?
Oh, wait.
Wow, what a powerful conversation. And it's a beautiful example of, yet again, of how vulnerability can breed connection and bring us all together. It's not necessarily a fun topic. It's not something sometimes we even want to be near. We don't want to feel that anger. We just want to move past it. And sometimes for me, I don't even like hearing that anger of somebody I love, because it puts me in a place. But honestly, just being honest and vulnerable and open to what's possible is just such a beautiful thing and really freeing. So I thank you, dear one, for sharing.
I do want to at least share one of the quotes that I pulled up for this day, maybe before I close us out. And so two things. The first is that several folks have said thank you for sharing something that's personal in your life. And I do that intentionally, not to say that whatever I've been through or am going through or will go through is any more or less tragic than others. It's less tragic than many. But there is no, I don't think there's a scale for tragedy. We've all suffered. We all have grief. And I think there's power in connection by not always showing up with answers. And today I didn't have answers. I just had something for us to discuss. So I want to express gratitude and to say that the reason why I share so openly is to encourage it, because I think it builds the most precious relationships. And to me, that's the essence of life. So before I close us out, I will at least give us a closing message from the late, beautiful, brilliant Thich Nhat Hanh. And this is what he says about anger. Try to get through this. Don't wait for things to change around you. Don't believe that shouting for 1,000 years will bring you relief. You have to practice liberating yourself. Then you will be equipped with the power of compassion and understanding, the only kind of power that can help transform an environment full of injustice and discrimination. Thich Nhat Hanh. And with that, I believe I will close us out with our 7 tenets. And what would we do without the number one, love? Keep keeping love at the center of all that you do. Remember to give. Give openly, give of your vulnerability, of your truth, of your time, of your talents. Give it to people you know and love, and give it to people that you don't. And laugh. Thank you for that reminder, because I will be laughing at my horrid behavior this morning as I missed the old flip phone when I hung up the phone. So remember to laugh out loud. Stress less by eating more plants and getting good rest. And certainly take care of the only body you have on this earth by keeping it moving. I love you all, and I thank you so much. Until next time on the Daily Huddle.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you. See you later.
One love, guys.
Excellent
One
job.
love.
Thank you.
Yes,
Thank you,
yeah,
Tara.
thank you,
Thank you,
my
Tara.
love.
Thank you,
Bye.
Kathryn. Love you guys.
Thank you. Love you all.